Hello, Namaskar and Adab to all my friends from your friend astrologer and guide Irfan once more with you from your very own channel Astro Assurance. When we look at conjunctions, we look at a coming together of energies. We also talk of conjunctions as yogas and we also look at them as doshas. Conjunctions become a enhancement of the energy of two entities coming together and it becomes much more bigger than the individual planets. So if Moon and Jupiter are alone in their own signs, they are said to be powerful, but when they come together, they are coming together in the synergy of energies and now their energy is enhanced much more times, many times over, and then it becomes a very powerful Gajkesari yoga. And we know the Gajkesari yoga is one of the most powerful yogas, one of the most auspicious yogas. Similarly, when you look at Saturn and Moon coming together, or Rahu and Saturn coming together, or you see Mars and Moon coming together, all these are known either as doshas or yogas. Now these are all related to the D1 or the Lagna chart or the birth chart. However, when you look at the Navamsa or the Navmansh or the D9 chart, how do we see when two planets are seen together in the same house or sign in the Navmansh chart or the D9 chart? Now, while I have termed this video as conjunctions because people assume they are conjunctions and so they are looking at conjunctions in the Navmansh, actually they may not be conjunctions in the Navmansh but coming together of two planets. For example, Sun in Aries in the Lagna chart, Moon in Taurus in the Lagna chart. Sun is in a different house, Moon is in a different house. So they are not in a conjunction in the D1 chart, in the Lagna chart. However, if they are seen in the same Navmansh, which means Sun within Aries is gone into, say for example, the Cancer sign, and Moon has also gone into the Cancer sign but in Taurus in the second house in the Lagna chart. So both of them, because Sun is placed in the Cancer Navamsa, Cancer part of the Aries sign of the Aries house in the Lagna, Moon is placed in the Taurus house or the Taurus sign in the Lagna chart, but in the final placement of Taurus, it has gone in the, when the Taurus sign is made into 9 parts, it has gone into the Cancer part. So Sun in the Cancer Navamsa in Aries in the first house, Moon in the Cancer Navamsa but in Taurus in the second house. They will be seen together in the Cancer sign in the Navmansh or the D9 chart. So if they are not in conjunction in the D1, they cannot be called as a conjunction in the Navmansh unless they are Vargotama. So if Sun and Moon have a degree difference of less than 3 degrees or less than 4 degrees in any sign and the same house in the Lagna chart, then to a large extent they will be seen as in the same sign together in the Navmansh chart. So that's why they are called as Vargotama, or they are placed together in the same sign. So then it becomes a very powerful connection and it becomes a very strong conjunction as well. However, if they are in different signs and different houses in the Lagna chart but they are seen together in the Navmansh, it will not be called as a conjunction but coming together of energies or synergies of energies, and it will only be slightly less in its powerful in its power or in its manifestation than the conjunction in the D1. So the D1 conjunction or the Lagna chart conjunction rules supreme. They are the yogas, they are the doshas. In the Navmansh, you don't see conjunctions, you don't see doshas, but you see a coming together of energy or synergy of energies. And I've said this in many videos earlier also. But they are also as powerful and slightly less in power than a conjunction in the D1, yet they are very powerful. So rather than calling conjunctions in the Navmansh, we should actually appropriately call them as a synergy of energies. It is like this: a man and woman both live in India. That doesn't mean they are together. A man in India and a woman in India means they are from the same country. They are both Indians. But they are not together, they are not in the relationship, they may not even know each other. However, because they are from the same country, their culture may be the same, they may be knowing the same languages, they may know the country much better, they may relate to each other more, their way of thinking, a lot of their manifestation may also be similar. So if these two people come together competing against somebody else outside because they are from the same country, because they understand the values thread will be the same, though they may not have the exact values, but the chain of values, the chain of the thread of values may be same. So then they become a strong power, and that's how they should be seen. So I'm going to today talk more about the conjunctions or the synergies of energies in the Navmansh chart, in the Navamsa or the D9 chart. So I was thinking of what to look at, or whose horoscope to look at, to be able to look at a number of conjunctions in the D9. So one name which came to my mind, because I know I've studied this chart a lot, and not one or two but 4 conjunctions or synergies of energies in the D9 chart or in the Navmansh. So it's difficult to call synergies of energies again and again, so I'll use the word conjunction, though it is not completely appropriate for this current video. So but not 1 or 2 but 4 conjunctions of very important planets in the Navmansh chart. So what I want to do is to discuss this gentleman's life, various events in his life, with a deeper look at his Navmansh chart, connecting to his placements in the D1, but talking in detail about the conjunctions in his D9 chart, in his Navmansh chart, and why they have manifested in the way they have, connecting it to what the original natural rulership of the particular sign or houses, as well as what his D1 chart's rulership presents, and then how those planetary entities coming together in the D9 manifest certain results, certain situations, certain effects for him in his life. So let's jump into the horoscope of a gentleman called Elon Musk. A lot of us may be knowing about him. Tesla, SpaceX, artificial intelligence, very varied life, extremely colorful life, also a life of pure motivation and strong willpower, because of which somebody comes up. A few years back he was almost bankrupt. Today he is seen as one of the richest people in the world, if not the richest. So let's jump into the horoscope of Mr. Elon Musk, and having a more detailed study of his D9, of his Navmansh, specifically aimed at focusing on the conjunctions or the synergies of energies in the D9 or the Navmansh chart. So let's jump into Elon Musk's D9 or Navmansh directly. Now this is the horoscope of Elon Musk, and if you see, his Lagna is that of Pisces, with Saturn and Venus in conjunction in the 3rd house in Taurus, Sun and Mercury on common conjunction but in Mercury's own sign of Gemini in the 4th house, Ketu in the 5th house in the sign of Cancer, which is significant, Moon going into the 6th house in the sign of Leo, ruled by Sun, which is also significant, Rahu and Mars, the very strong Angakaraka dosha, where Mars is getting exalted in the sign of Capricorn, but in the Angakaraka dosha, but in the 11th house of societal, huge mass, network connections and social causes. As Jupiter is in the sign of Scorpio, but it is retrograde. When you look at his Navmansh, you will find Moon and Rahu is in the Lagna, in the Navmansh, in Moon's own sign, in the Cancer sign. This is a significant conjunction because it is in the Lagna and it is in Moon's own sign. And then Jupiter and Venus in conjunction in the 2nd house in Leo. I am not going to talk much about Mars and Neptune because I am not counting Neptune in the Navmansh, so Mars is placed alone. Then the conjunction in the 7th house in the Navmansh between Sun and Ketu, and then the conjunction between Mercury and Saturn in the 9th house in Pisces. So when you look at Elon Musk's life, you will know that Elon Musk was born in Pretoria in South Africa. His father was a South African, but his mother was a Canadian. And so when you look at his Navmansh chart, you will be seeing that his Moon and Rahu are placed together. Moon is the Karaka of mother, Rahu is the Karaka of anything which is foreign. So Moon and Rahu coming together, which means that his mother may have been a foreigner or not from his country of birth. And if you see, where does the 4th lord from the Lagna chart Mercury place? Mercury, which is the 4th lord in the Lagna chart, goes into the 9th house and is placed with Saturn, but in its debilitation sign of Pisces. That is the reason why within a few years of his mother and his father getting married, they got divorced, and Elon Musk was very young. He was barely 10 years of age or even lesser when his father and mother got divorced, and he stayed back in South Africa with his father. And hence you see that his fourth lord Mercury is in the debilitation sign of Pisces. Pisces is foreign or 12th house. So mother goes or remains in a foreign land or in a foreign country, and because Saturn is placed along with Mercury, so he gets estranged with his mother, or he gets separated from his mother. And so this particular conjunction of Moon and Rahu shows that mother is somebody who is a foreigner, and is not placed, when is not placed with him or is not staying with him, or he got estranged from his mother, which is also strongly manifested by the other conjunction of his original fourth lord in the Lagna chart being placed with Saturn. Saturn shows separation or slowness or moving away or paying a karmic debt. And so Mercury's debilitation, which is the original fourth lord, shows estrangement for the mother. Second, Mercury also rules the 12th house in the Navmansh chart, which is another connection to foreign lands, and being in the conjunction with Saturn in the sign of Pisces. So Mercury rules the 12th house in the Navmansh chart, goes into the sign of Pisces, which also is the natural 12th house, and in the 9th house, which is also long distance travel. So being far away from his mother. And so both these connections of Moon and Rahu in the Lagna as well as Mercury and Saturn show mother is from foreign land, from his place of birth, and is also gets estranged. Secondly, now when you look at his growing up years, in his growing up years, within a few years of his mother and father getting divorced, he realized that his decision of staying back with father wasn't good, and he calls his father one of the most evil people ever. And so he got estranged from his father. Using his mother's Canadian nationality, he used the Canadian nationality to go back to Canada and then eventually come to the United States, where he got his education, and he completed not one but 2 degrees, one in the stream of economics and the other in physics. So he got his bachelor's degree, one in economics and one in physics, which are 2 very varied ones. And hence if you see his conjunction of Jupiter and Venus in the 2nd house in the sign of Leo. Leo is the natural 5th house in the Kal Purush Kundli, and so Jupiter going into the sign of Leo in retrograde fashion shows that his education had to go through number of misses and challenges and obstacles before he eventually got his bachelor's degree. This is also manifested strongly because Jupiter in the Lagna chart is in the 9th house, but in the Scorpio sign of obstacles, issues, problems, and in the Navmansh chart is placed with Venus in the sign of Leo, which also connects his Jupiter to his education, and with Venus, which is also in the Lagna chart the ruler of the 8th house. And because Venus also is in his own sign but with Saturn in the Lagna chart of the 3rd house and now gone into the 2nd house but with Jupiter, shows a lot of effort that he has to put in to get his education. And in the Navmansh chart also, if you see, Jupiter rules the 9th house and now is placed with Venus in the 2nd house in the sign of Leo, which gets connected to again education. And Mercury, which is the Karaka of education, Mercury is debilitated in the 9th house in the Pisces sign but in Jupiter sign, so Mercury gets some strength here, however, which shows that lot of challenges and issues. Now Mercury here is more, Mercury in Pisces has more creativity to it rather than analytical ability, and hence if you see, Elon Musk is known for its creativity, whether coming up with Tesla car, which is an electronic car working on batteries, then coming up with SpaceX, and SpaceX also connects him to space, and Jupiter is also the Karaka of air or space, and so he faced a number of drawbacks. Initially his number of rockets failed, got destroyed before eventually he got success. And hence Jupiter being retrograde while being the karaka of the air or the space medium shows that initially he will face challenges, issues, the catapult effect that I keep talking about, where if a planet is in retrograde fashion, initially to get any benefit out of the planet becomes difficult, but later on the planet, when it is released through the catapult, gets you high success if you are committed to the planet's energy and you work with unrestrained motivation and willpower. And that's what has happened. And because Jupiter is the 9th house, is the ruler of the 9th house of long distance travel and the karaka of air, so long distance travel after a lot of effort because of Saturn placed here with Mercury. So creativity and education getting connected with earning money, and Jupiter getting into the 2nd house in the Navmansh while ruling the 6th house of service in the Navmansh chart and ruling the 9th house of fate and luck, and using his education to earn money. And so Jupiter and Venus here also shows, because Venus is the karaka of the 4th house of assets and the 11th house of social recognition. So both money and social recognition coming through to him in huge measure, connected to his education, connected to the space or the air medium, and through a lot of creativity. Creativity gets connected here because of both Mercury being in the sign of Pisces, which is connected to Jupiter being the ruler, Jupiter being the ruler of that. And secondly, Moon and Rahu going into the Lagna. Moon is extremely high creativity and Rahu is breakthrough technology. So Moon and Rahu coming together and in a supportive fashion. So he has used his creativity and the breakthrough energy that Rahu gives, out of the box thinking which Rahu gives with Moon, which is the planet of thinking, in the Lagna itself. So he will be known as somebody who is an innovator, an entrepreneur, a creator and an innovator par excellence, but in helping others, supporting others. And that's why Rahu and Moon have gone into the Lagna in the Navmansh chart. And so his legacy will be of an entrepreneur, of an innovator, of a creator, but trying to help others, supporting others and doing something largely for society, because Rahu is also in the Navmansh, the ruler of the 8th house, which is also about doing something which is unknown, uncharted territory, and through that using creativity to support others, and through that supporting others in an uncharted territory which has been doing, and doing something largely to help society. So all his ventures, if you see, very, very creative ventures, but all of them are out of the box, hugely innovative, breakthrough work, but in helping others and in a matter which is supportive, which is caring. And that's what his Moon and Rahu in the Lagna present. And then Sun and Ketu in the 7th house. He was married to initially a Canadian author, again from another country, not his country of his origin. And if you see in the Lagna chart, Saturn rules the 12th house, and Saturn is placed with Venus in the 3rd house in the Lagna chart. Venus is the karaka of women and Saturn is the karaka of year in the Lagna chart of the 12th house. And Saturn is going into the 9th house, but with debilitated Mercury. And Mercury is the ruler of the 4th house of his Lagna chart, and Mercury is also placed there. And so 4th house ruler and the 7th house ruler Mercury from the Lagna chart going into the debilitation sign in the 9th house. The 9th house is the house also of second marriages, second relationship, and a solemnized relationship through a solemnized social affair, which is a marriage rather than being in a live-in relationship. So Mercury goes with Saturn in the 9th house and in the sign of Pisces, which is also the natural ruler of the 12th house. So his first wife was a Canadian author. Within 7 to 8 years of his marriage, he got divorced with her. And then the same year he was involved with another actress with whom he got into a second marriage, and within 2 years of that marriage again he went to another divorce. And so in his 7th house, Ketu being placed here and his 4th and 7th ruler of the Lagna chart going into a debilitation sign but with Saturn, show that his marriages will not survive. His solemnized, acknowledged marriages will not survive. And so in his 7th house in the Navmansh chart, he has Sun and Ketu, and that's why he was also estranged from his father, because Ketu is placed with Sun. Sun is the Karaka of father also. And in the Navmansh chart, the ruler of the 9th house is Jupiter, and Jupiter is also retrograde, and so he was estranged with his father and he separated from his father, which means Sun and Ketu together in the 7th house, which shows that he got separated or estranged from his father. Ketu negated him the fatherly love and affection, so he had to let go of his father, let go of his association with father, and now he has no connection with him. So Sun and Ketu in the 7th house show, Ketu in the 7th house shows relationship challenges, marriage related challenges, and with Sun shows estrangement with father also. And if you see, Sun rules the 6th house in the Lagna chart and has gone with Ketu in the 7th house, which shows, because the 6th house in the Lagna chart is the house of loss of relationship, and Sun has gone into the 7th house with Ketu, which means loss of relationship through court cases, and hence he went through 2 divorces and eventually lost both the relation through that. Then he was heard as being in a short affair dating the actress Amber Heard, with whom again he got separated, and lastly he is now with a singer, a Canadian singer, for about 2 years now, and he also has a son out of wedlock. But because he has Ketu in the 7th house, he has not married the woman with whom he is in the relationship with now, and in fact they don't live in the same country. Most of the time Elon Musk lives in California, and most of the time he also spends all of his time at his SpaceX or Tesla company. He sleeps sometimes in the hangar, in the office also, in his headquarters located in California. So in his relationship with Sun and Ketu in the Lagna chart, Sun ruling the 6th house of loss of relationship, getting together in the 7th house means in his romantic relationship, because Ketu in the Lagna chart is placed in the 5th house and gone with Sun in the 7th house. So the 5th house and 6th house connection comes to the 7th house in the Navman chart and separates him from his relationship. So that's how you should see the 4 conjunctions, Moon and Rahu in the Lagna, giving him the reputation of an innovator par excellence, doing things for others. This also shows mother is a foreigner. Mercury, which goes into the 9th house with Saturn, Mercury also rules the 4th house in his Lagna chart, shows estrangement from mother or loss of mother. But Mercury also rules his 7th house in the Lagna chart and placed in a degradation sign in Pisces with Saturn, which shows also breakup in a solemnized relationship with his wives. This is also strengthened by Sun and Ketu's conjunction in the 7th house in the sign of Capricorn, which is ruled by Saturn, and Saturn is placed with Mercury, which is the ruler of the 12th house in the Lagna chart and the 8th house in the Navman chart. So Saturn is the strong Karaka of separation from his spouse and getting connected to both his 4th lord and 7th lord in the Lagna chart and his 7th house in the Navman chart. And then the Jupiter Venus connection, which shows that through his education in the area of space, he earns money, he earns reputation, he does a lot for society, because Venus also rules the 11th house of social causes and is also the ruler of the 4th house of relationship, and Jupiter is placed with Venus, while Jupiter also rules the 6th house of loss of relationship. So Jupiter ruling the 6th house, loss of relationship, placed with Venus, so he gets separated or estranged from his Venus every now and then, but he makes a lot of money, because 11th house is also the house of huge gains connected to societal welfare. So in societal welfare, he has used his education in the area of space and has made a lot of money. So friends, that's how you should see the synergy of energies or the conjunctions in the Navman chart. Please look into your own horoscopes and also check your Navman chart and try and see if there are any conjunctions there. If there are more conjunctions, they also will get connected to the Lagna chart placements as well as the Navman chart placements. It is a tricky thing to be able to apprehend or understand now come to a conclusion of the synergy of energies. So as I've explained to you, the 4 conjunctions of Elon Musk's Navmansh chart getting connected to D1, which house the planet rules in the D1 and now placed in which house with which planet in the D9, what is the manifestation, what is the output, what are the results. So jump deep dive into your Lagna and your Navmansh chart. In the comment section, explain why certain results have come out in your life because of the connection of the D1 and the conjunction in the D9. So friends, like this video, share this video, and if you're looking for a personal consultation from me, please reach out to me at the links given below. Until some other time with some other video, this is your friend astrologer and guide Irfan signing off.